have you been with the department at the time?
Approximately 17 years.
How many, Harford County is not a type of place that sees a lot of these kinds of crimes. So in your career, how many of these kinds of really violent crimes have you seen?
Not that many. As you said, Harford County is not known for that type of violence until the appearance of gangs in Harford County. Violence in the county was very limited.
And especially in Aberdeen, you know, by proving grounds and all of that stuff?
Everywhere. It was rare.
What do you, what's your position at the time? So they get the call, the detective's on the scene. From what I understand, there was right away just a huge media circus. Obviously, you were the one in charge of that. So what is your process of sort of getting that information, and then what do you do after that?
Well, I responded to the scene, and once I arrived at the scene, I established a location for the media to gather. And I would interview the lead detective at the scene, and then take the information that I received from the lead detective, and that information that could be released to the media, I would report to the gathering point where the media were assembled and give them the information.
And what was, there was a lot of people in the neighborhoods who were, from what I understand, kind of coming out, and had you seen sort of a media situation like that at that point? Had there been much like that happening?
There had, any time that you have had a serious homicide or multiple homicides in Harford County, because that was a rare occurrence, you were going to attract the attention of the neighbors. In fact, in those days, and even to this day, anytime there's a homicide in a neighborhood, particularly in a neighborhood where they don't expect it, there's panic that sets in and fear. And usually within a week to 10 days, the sheriff's office is meeting with the community to brief them on the homicide, and if there are needs for the community to take precautions, to let them know what they need to do to be safe.
I would assume that a lot of people were very concerned who lived in the area too, because it just seemed like it was so out of the blue and senseless. And
it was very brutal, very senseless, very violent. Again, not something that was common in Harford County, very rare. And the fact that no suspects, no real substantial leads in the case, very perplexing case, caused a lot of concern on the part of everybody, not just the community, but the law enforcement community as well.
So how do you react to that? What kinds of things do you guys do to sort of ease the community and your own concerns about whoever did this and wherever they might be?
Well, in something like this, education can be very key. So telling the community what we know about the homicide and how we believe the homicide occurred. And if we can indicate to the community that it was a random act of violence and not someone within the community, that can set the community at ease. But I don't know that you ever really set a community at ease once this occurs. I go to communities today that have had homicides in the past, and they still, for the longtime residents, they still will recall the homicide and want to know whatever happened to the person that we arrested, or if we were ever able to solve the homicide. Something you never really forget, particularly one of this nature.
Do you, did you get to ever see the crime scene or anything like that?
I did.
What was your reaction?
From what I saw, it was rather gruesome. I don't know that I can really comment a whole lot about what I saw at the crime scene, because if we ever apprehend the subject or subjects responsible, then I'm telling you things that I really shouldn't be telling you about the case. But it was definitely an indication that there was a very violent encounter that occurred in the home.
And, you know, now that you're obviously a veteran, you have a lot of experience, and what do you think happened now that some of the pieces have come together? I mean, we know that they broke in, that they killed them, they didn't take anything. What kind of conclusions did you draw for yourself about what happened?
I didn't really draw any conclusions, only that two people were brutally murdered with some type of what appeared to be a blunt force object. And beyond that, I really don't know what to tell you. I don't know if it's a mystery person out there that we're looking for. I don't know if it was someone within the community. I really don't know at this point. Wouldn't know what to tell you. And from all I've been told about the case as time has been going on, it's as much of a mystery today as it was then.
As the sheriff now, having this case still out there, what's it like for you now, knowing that 21 years later, is there just a real drive to get that solved?
I would like to see it solved. I would like to see all of our unsolved homicides solved. I think that a lot of questions that people have, family, the community, police officers involved in the case, I think it would answer a lot of questions that they have, and for people in the community and for family probably set their mind at ease if we're able to apprehend the person. And I think that the family would know that justice was served if we can arrest that person and bring them to court.
And you have to feel a certain, level of responsibility to that family too, and knowing that they're still out there and they never knew what happened.
Sure, when you're responsible for public safety, you have a certain degree of responsibility that you feel for. Nobody likes that to occur on their watch. I wasn't the sheriff at the time, but I was second in command of the agency. I would prefer that not have happened. I don't like having to reflect on something like that occurring in this county. I'm like anybody else. I would like to think that we live in an ideal world and not have to experience things like that. But solving that would go a long ways to the people who lived in the community at the time and the family.
And how many cold cases does the county have? I mean, we don't have too many murders, but it's a very safe area.
Most of our murders are solved. Very few cold cases. I don't know the exact number. It's less than 10 since I've been with the sheriff's office, and that's 1972. We've been very fortunate. We solved most of our homicides.
And is this one of those cases that you sort of might be on your mind? I mean, every police officer has a case that they kind of think, this one really bothers me that it didn't get solved. Does this one happen to be one of the ones that you can think of for you?
This is one of several. This one would rank right up at the top, but it's one of several.